If you've reached here, it's likely you've committed a fallacy, or are interested in knowing more about them. In this episode, we are going to talk about ad hominem, that is, directing against someone personally rather than the claim. There are many kinds of ad hominem fallacies, but in this episode we're going to talk about the circumstantial ad hominem. In this fallacy, the bias of someone is taken into consideration rather than solely their affirmation. This is due to the suspicion of the inquirer that the respondent might take advantage of the situation by having their claims reported as true. For example, Alvis says books are superior to comic books, but Jimmy, knowing that Alvis owns a bookstore that doesn't have any comic books in it, says, "Of course you'd say that. You own a bookstore that has no comic book." Now, just because Alvis is trying to convince Jimmy that books are superior, and he happens to have a store that sells no comic books, doesn't mean that he's lying to Jimmy just to try to convince him to buy one of his books or take advantage of the situation. This is the typical case of circumstantial ad hominem, where if the claim of the person is true, in this case, Alvis saying that books are superior, he might take advantage of it by having, for example, Jimmy convinced that comic books aren't as good and have him buy other books at his bookstore.